Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, if any of you watch the news, we can all start to get an idea of why the Republicans, why the conservatives, why the right wing, why they didn't want this investigation, why they want to hamper this investigation. Today, after the first day of testimony, if you guys saw any of that, with the four Capitol policemen. If any of you watched that, unbelievable, appalling, disgusting, the things that happened to these policemen at the hands of Trump supporters, it brings it all back in crystal clarity. Now it becomes obvious why. I think as time goes by, our memories start to fade, and this is one of those times I think that the right, the conservative Republicans want this to just fade. All right. If you saw my video from yesterday, you saw where I talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I gotta laugh when I talk about this. Matt Gaetz they started a presser right outside where these hearings were being held yesterday. And if you haven't seen this yet, you got to see it. It's in yesterday's video, my last video before this one. There's a link down below, and it has the videos where they're actually chased. They open up, and they're actually trying to paint these Trump supporters that did all this, that broke into the Capitol, that assaulted people with flagpoles and whatnot, trying to paint them as political prisoners now. These poor guys were just there. There was love in the air, and it was hugs and kisses, and they were just innocent people touring the Capitol, speaking their mind like patriots, their opinions, and they're being held as political prisoners by the Marxist communists. Okay, I'll talk about that. Let me get to that in a second. All right, today now, I want to say this. For the few Trump supporters that watch my channel every day, I see you out there. I see there's about 4 or 5 of you. I see your comments. I see your thumbs down every day. I got to ask you guys a question. I'm not busting ass here. When you see the excuses from the right media, from the politicians, calling these policemen crisis actors, saying that they were reading scripts written by Nancy Pelosi, saying that they were hand-picked because of their Marxist attitudes. I gotta ask you guys, aren't you embarrassed? Seriously. Like I said, if you look at my community page, there's a Fox News reporter who put out a tweet actually calling, I can't remember one of the Capitol policemen with the beard, the guy that slammed the table yesterday, which for I'd be upset too, but the right wing, the Trump supporters, basically don't have a leg to stand on. So they tried to make something out of him slamming the table. Anyway, this reporter, like I said, it's on my community page. She actually called him a crisis actor. Now that term has never sat well with me ever since what happened here in Connecticut at an elementary school some years back. Some people use that term. I don't believe in crisis actors, first of all, period. So she calls him a crisis actor. If I was a Republican, I would be truly embarrassed of this behavior, of trying to smoke screen this, to try to get out of responsibility for this. This whole love and kisses and all this other stuff. Then you got to read this tweet. So she goes on to say that that he's a crisis actor. I think she calls him a Marxist, of course. And then at the end, she says this: he also has a lot of tattoos. Wow. Talking about not having a leg to stand on. So, I guess I don't even have any tattoos, and I am offended by that comment. The implication here is that by having tattoos, you are not trustworthy. That makes you a crisis actor, a Marxist. I don't know. She didn't say what the tattoos were or anything. Just he also has a lot of tattoos. Oh my, unbelievable. Then Hannity, Tucker Carlson, just appalling stuff, saying that from saying that these 4 policemen were specifically picked because of their political feelings, saying that, I think it was Hannity that said, you could tell that they were reading a script written by Nancy Pelosi. And it just goes on and on. Like I said, if I was a Trump supporter, if I was any kind of Republican at this moment, I would be truly embarrassed at this. Okay, now there's going to be people out there, because I am a leftist, I am a liberal, are going to say, well, how come you're defending the police now when you want to defund the police before? Look, the bottom line is here, I don't like bullies. I root the underdog, basically. When somebody's getting beat up, I don't approve of violence. I've talked to you guys about that before. I lived a life of that for decades, and it's a dead end. It really is. It does not accomplish goals. It just leads to more violence and more excuses. But anyway, and if you look at these are Capitol Police. They are in charge of defending the Capitol of our nation, Congress. It's a far different job and title than, say, the small town sheriff that let's just say has some prejudiced views and considers himself judge, jury, and executioner. You know what I mean? There's a large difference there. Let me say this too. I don't approve of any, like the stuff that happened in Portland, where there was smashing and looting. I don't approve of that either. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that was because the Trump supporters did that. No, you take responsibility. That was left-wing people, and they were wrong for doing that. I want to talk about this too. As time goes by, we can all remember on January 7th, the day after, right? Every Trump supporter I know, I'd say 95% of them all Americans were appalled at what they saw. Everybody agreed. It was wrong. It was horrible. It was disgusting. It was embarrassing. It was disgraceful of what happened there the day before. I'm talking on January 7th. The entire nation, even the Lindsey Graham, remember him? Remember that? He was, Donald Trump's gone too far now. And over the last 7 months, we've just seen this slide where the same group has just slowly tried to step away from it and not take responsibility for it. This reminds me of stuff I've read in 12-step programs, making amends, not taking responsibility for your actions. You know what it reminds me of? Say somebody of weak character who blames others, who considers themselves a victim and refuses to accept responsibility for their actions. People that when I was previously an addict, that's who I was. Or take, for instance, say somebody that cheated on their wife, a man that cheated on his wife, right? Next day, he gets caught, right? He's like, oh my God, I was so wrong, honey, please forgive me. I'm terrible, I'm scum, I don't know what I was thinking. Please accept my apologies. And then as time goes by, a lot of times, you'll see they start to become somewhat indignant. That they're looked at as the bad guy. These are people of weak moral character that don't own up to their actions. They always want to consider themselves victims. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And as time goes by, all of a sudden it becomes somebody else's fault. Well, you forced me to do it. You didn't give me enough love. I had no other choice. You forced me to do this. It's all your fault that I cheated. And that's what we see happening right now. We see this slide over time where they're trying to spin it around now. That all of a sudden these people are political prisoners. And you see Trump gaslighting the entire country with excuse after it was hugs and kisses. Let me just say this. Some of that testimony yesterday was just, it almost made me want to tear up from what these guys had to endure. From the one guy saying that he thought this was the end. And look, like I've told you guys before, For 2 decades, I was a bald-faced liar, man. I was a manipulating, lying addict. And for the last 14 years, I have nothing to lie about. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. I don't have to lie about anything. And I could spot a liar. And believe me, these guys are telling the truth. You could see it in their faces. You can hear it in their voices. You can see it in their eyes, their body movements. These guys are telling the truth. These Capitol police officers are telling the truth. Then you hear that one African American police officer talking about what they said to him. And I believe every word of it. I do. It's not like these guys are running for office. Chances are, by them having to testify like this, it's probably gonna cost them. It's probably down the road. It's probably gonna cost them. There's gonna be revenge is gonna be sought. You know, these guys aren't looking to make book deals. Can't use that excuse. The stuff they testify to. And here's the thing too. Like I said, you from Hannity to Carlson to all the different GOP Trump-kissing politicians trying to spin these officers as leftists or crisis actors or whatever. None of it can hold any water because we have the videos. We have those videos, and not just one, not just two. We have dozens of them where we can see exactly what happened that day and who did it. And we can just watch them over and over. And one video is more appalling and disgusting than the last. There's no doubt who they were. There's no doubt what they were doing, what their intentions were. Their intentions were beyond extreme. What they were calling for, what they were doing. This isn't about patriots. This isn't about somebody expressing their opinions. This was just a mob mentality. Now, all of a sudden, when I say mob, again, oh, Daryl, what about your leftists? What about Portland? Anything that went on there, I'll put that down too. I don't agree with any of it, but I'll take responsibility. You know, I will admit when the left does something like that it was them and they were wrong. Accepting responsibility. Not that I did it myself, but people I support did it. And no matter who you are, it's wrong. That kind of mob mentality, it's weak, it's cowardly when you have to hide behind a whole mob like that to try to feel like somebody. All right, those are some of my thoughts. You guys, let me know what you think. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a great Wednesday.